Hey everybody, this is Marcel Irnie, my Irnieracing YouTube channel, where we focus on the news these days, mixed with a little dirt bike moto and RV boondocking. So today we're doing an update on request of the German farmers. They are still in the streets. They've been in there now for 2 weeks, and they have a plan of action. They don't like what the government is doing. The government who wasted all their money on the proxy war in Ukraine, giving away all their money, destroying their natural gas pipeline, just ruining everything. People are like, can't even have fireplaces anymore. So anyways, top story. German farmers are braving the January weather to show the government that they are not willing to fill budget deficits. They announced today a week of action, lining up in major cities with trucks and tractors blocking traffic to show the government that they mean business. So here's the main article on Euronews. German farmers block major highways with tractors in protest against plans to scrap the diesel tax break.
Blocked the main motorway access roads in some parts of the country on Monday. It's the start of a week of protests against the government plan to eliminate tax benefits for farmers.
So, for many who haven't heard the story before, why are German farmers protesting? It's a little different than the Dutch farmers, but the same agenda 2030, essentially ruin the countries on purpose to have a full reset. Take people's farming, take people's jobs, take people's land, and it goes around in a circle. So specifically though, this is attacking their tax break. Just like in Canada, we have farmers' diesel. We have agricultural diesel, which is cheaper. It's red dyed diesel. And they also have tax breaks on purchasing farm equipment to make the business viable. So there was a similar protest in December when German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, unpopular three-party coalition, infuriated farmers by drawing up plans to abolish a car tax exemption for farming vehicles and the diesel tax breaks. The proposals were part of a package to fill a 17 billion euro hole in the 2024 budget. Thanks to what they have done in 2023 and 2022 with pretty much paying to have all the Ukrainian men killed for nothing, because they could have been at the table for peace talks 2 years ago, and they would have had a lot more now. Now, because of what they've done, everybody is dead. And of course, Putin now is going to own all of Ukraine because he was forced to own all of Ukraine. Before, it was a special military operation to save the people of Donbass who asked for their independence as they were being slaughtered over the last decade. Tens of thousands of people killed by the Ukraine military because they were obviously Russian descent, Russian-speaking, Russian ethnic people living in the eastern part of Ukraine, such as the Donbass. And they were being attacked, and they asked for help, and the only person who could help them was Russia. And you may remember the coup where all this got really bad in 2014, instigated by Victoria Nuland of the USA, because they all want presiding power in Ukraine. They want to be able to launder their money, and most important, continue on their Jeffrey Epstein, child slavery, sex trafficking, etc. The Bidens all complicit. All the way down to the Clintons, apparently now, from the names coming out, along with your Bill Clinton and the other Bill Gates. Last week, the government climbed down partially, saying that the car tax exemption would be retained and the cuts in the diesel tax break would be staggered over 3 years. But the German Farmers Association said it was still insisting on the plans being reversed fully and would go ahead with a week of action starting today. The protests are under scrutiny after a group of farmers prevented Vice Chancellor Robert Habeck from disembarking on a ferry Thursday. He was at a small North Sea port returning from a personal trip to an offshore island. Wow, it sounds like Trudeau, right? Running away to Jamaica during the truckers' convoy. And again, as of lately in the winter, over Christmas, while we all suffer with the ridiculous carbon tax. So people right now in Canada are paying on natural gas to heat their homes. I just watched the video, maybe I'll release it later. A guy talked about his actual bill for gas was $22. But then there was a $23 delivery fee. And then there was a $30 carbon tax fee. And then there was another fee. And then there was an adjustment fee where he ended up paying $133 for his $22 of natural gas. And that's what's happening in Canada as well. Back to the news here. That incident drew condemnation from the government and opposition figures and the Farmers Association. Authorities have warned that far-right groups, so you mean people with common sense, and others could try to capitalize on the protests. The Farmers Association chairman, Rookweed, told the Bild AM Sonntag newspaper that we don't want to have right-wing and other radical groups at the demonstrations. The budget revamp that includes the disputed cuts was required after Germany's highest court annulled an earlier decision to repurpose 60 billion euros originally meant to cushion the fallout from the COVID pandemic for measures to help combat climate change and modernize the country. Wow. The maneuver fell aloof of Germany's strict self-imposed limits on running up debt. And if we take a look at the climate change news that they were referring to, as the planet heats up over the last 10,000 years, because we are on a trend from low to go back to normal, rainfall is increasing. For every 1 Celsius of warming, because right now we're actually 2.5 Celsius below the average over the last 10,000 years. So for every 1 Celsius of warming, experts say the atmosphere is able to hold 7% more water vapor. This increases the chance of heavy rainfall. Some analysts suggest that storms are also getting more frequent and intense, resulting in heavier downpours. And back to the original story. The protests began weeks ago when the government announced that it had a fuel deficit for 2024 and would do so by limiting subsidies on diesel fuel for farm vehicles. After protests last week, the government said that it would delay these plans and roll them out over the course of 3 years. Yes, I said this already. But the Farmers Association said, no, that's not good enough. The media and the authorities are warning that these protests could be capitalized on by far-right groups. That is a familiar line that the Canadian government used during the trucker protest. Does anyone buy that anymore? Government's calling opposition far-right. Come on. The German government has tanked their own economy by shutting down affordable energy sources and supporting their pipeline being blown up, essentially, in their UN, and sending money to a pointless war in Ukraine, and now wants to fill the budget gaps on the backs of working people who feed the country. A label won't make that common sense opposition go away. Yeah, guys. Thanks to Redacted for the story. This is IrnieracingNews.
I want to show you his robbery. Come. So check this out over here. Okay. So over here, that is how much gas I actually used. I used $22.88 worth of gas. Yeah. In order to get the gas delivered to me, $23.78. Then, in order to get the gas to Enbridge, it cost me $9.44. Then the federal government comes in with their federal carbon tax and charges me $26.76, more than what the gas itself costs. Then I have no idea what this is, but the gas supply charge of $28.58. That's the highest charge here.
Yeah, this is what I was referring to earlier. I figured I'd throw it at the end. And you can see, and then there's adjustment, total charge, and tax on all those taxes. There's taxes on the federal carbon change of $26.76. Another $15 of tax. A total of $133 for his $22.88 of actual customer charge for the tax. And we don't get to see the breakdown about the actually amount of fuel. But anyways, crazy guys, huh? Crazy. IrnieracingNews. IrnieracingNews. Thanks for watching. January, 7th? Sorry, January 8th, 2024.